Oh, that one I think officially says 7, so I'm going to call us to order. The first order of business for the work session is to entertain public comment. If anyone has any comments they'd like to make this evening. If not, then we will progress to what's going to be an executive session to start our evening. I'm going to look for a motion to go into executive session to discuss collective bargaining negotiations as per Article 14 of Civil Service Law. Do I have a motion? Mr. Renata, second Mr. Mannix. Any discussion? All in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We will go into executive session at 7:01. We will be coming out and there may be some business. Motion to come out of executive session. Mr. Renata, second. Mr. Mannix. Any discussion? Roll call. All in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. We come out at 8:42. I didn't have a sign-in. Did Deborah have a sign-in sheet out there?
On anything, no.
That's probably why it's in my...
I would allow you to sign me in.
I can't be tricked that easily.
You want me to put you, Meg?
Sure.
Okay.
See how trusting, right?
You'll learn. Okay, that was number 1.
She knows I'm honest.
Number 2. Katyville.
Which is number 2?
I thought you liked long sessions, Tom.
I do.
Well, I rest my case. 3. This is Mike's item. Again, it's, I know the first time you've seen it, I did a little bit of a Tom, and I've gone through and made some marks as well. Mike?
Sure, and the spirit of time, this is something that we've talked about a couple of times. I just wanted to kind of give you an update as to where we're moving forward. I had shared with you that the Center for Earth and Environmental Science at SUNY Plattsburgh and I engaged in a conversation about the opportunity for the town of Plattsburgh and SUNY Plattsburgh to collaborate and do some projects in the Katyville Park. One of the individuals, Kurt Jervik, is a faculty member, and he actually had his course undergo the process of developing an MOU and kind of suggesting some language, and then a designed organizational structure for an ongoing committee that would help to define the relationship between our two entities. So you'll see 2 members of the town council, the town director for Parks and Recreation, the town planner, 2 residents of the town, the director of the center, and then several faculty members. And I had even recommended that we potentially include a SUNY Plattsburgh student. So what this committee would do is to continue to look at opportunities for collaboration, whether it be scientific or opportunities to classroom experience that would be to develop programs and projects. It's in the draft state. The idea was to try to get some things cinched up by next week to present to the board to kind of give it thumbs up, thumbs down, and looking for thoughts, opinions across the language. And Bernie did author a draft a while back. I've given that to Kurt to try to do some layovers with some of our language that we had already talked about as well. And he's still working on that. But as the semester winds down, as you can imagine, things are kind of crazy over there.
So this isn't his?
No, this is his. What I'm saying is
okay.
the overlay he has of some of the language that we've proposed too, so he's going to be integrating that. But I just wanted to put this out in front of you folks to give you ample opportunity to give some thoughts and suggestions as we try to move this forward. They have a couple different groups have been out there. They did some tree cataloging, for example. One of the other groups went out there as an independent study to try to identify some trail markings. So again, there's some potential opportunities to develop on this park and elsewhere in the future. So, and it's at no cost to us.
Is that kind of, I don't know, but quite heavily weighted with town people?
Again, this document was basically generated by the college students through an educational exercise. So again, that's why I'm presenting it to you folks as a give feedback to them so that they can take it as a learning opportunity, but it also gives us kind of an opportunity to develop off of this. So, and they appreciated the opportunity to exercise, because not many college students can say that they were part of creating a, potential government document. So all the language is in draft, nothing is for certain.
Yeah.
And I'll give you examples of the corporation themes. They put in parentheses just some examples of some individuals that would be helpful in kind of developing various things, like the environmental science and ecological field research. Danielle, Jake, Rachel, and Ed, those are all of their areas of expertise. So they wouldn't keep the parentheses. It was just an opportunity to give some examples.
Yep.
So.
And I looked at liabilities, I don't see anything there that can't be addressed of any concern at all. A real value of this is generating a formal document that we can, Meg, I never thought we should have invited you to come join us. Please do in the future or now, whenever you're comfortable. You should be up here,
Oh, okay.
not sitting back there.
Okay. Thank you.
In anticipation of phase 2 of the tax cap stuff, where we need, partnerships. What is the win-win, et cetera, could be valuable.
The one last thing that I'll share with you, it's a little bit on the outside of the gravitational pull of this particular document, but I think you folks would take interest in this. There was, and I know I'm not going to get the title exact, but basically an Earth and Environmental Management class that Mel and I have had some conversations with, and they're creating a unique document to make very specific programmatic recommendations for the park too. Again, not anything that the board has to act on, but they've gone through some exercises to make some recommendations that, hey, did you ever think about doing X with the park? And they went through a process to really have some conversations with people, do some research, and I think that's another unique opportunity where we're getting some novice expertise to give us some thoughts and opinions at no cost to the town. It's not something that Mal and Erin necessarily have time to develop, or Phil is our planner and stuff like that, but we have some folks that are in the educational arena that can say, hey, think about this, and then take it to the next level.
If they've done that?
They are making a presentation, it's, I think, either Monday or the Monday after that.
Would they like to come to a work session or a regular and do a presentation?
The hope is, if they don't do it here, that in the future, next semester, maybe a couple will come back, particularly the faculty members. So the semester ends really weird this year with Thanksgiving, and then they basically have a week before, and then finals, so, yeah.
So what's next with this, Mike?
I would say if people can get final comments, I'd like to work with Bernie to get a final to you to be on consideration for the docket for the next time that we come together as a group. So
Put it back on the next work session?
I'd like to
Follow up?
I'd like to try to do it during our next meeting if possible. I think we're on the final leg of it, so just cinch up a couple of committees
During the next regular board meeting?
if possible.
What would we do at that meeting?
If
I'm gonna act on it or discuss it?
we can act on it, if we can get there, I'll
So
leave,
you want-
I'll leave it to your discretion.
You want
We can-
feedback
This
right
week.
away?
This week, yeah.
This week.
We'd be putting that together by Friday at the latest.
Yep. That's the hope.
Probably best everybody just sends it direct to Mike, and then you and I can sit down and go through it.
Yep.
What verbiage we use on the resolution might be important too, we try to think about best use and future use.
Yep.
So, we'll try to do that, and this is a short week, so that may not happen.
Like I said, if it does, great, if it doesn't, but just trying to,
That may be a bit aggressive. Okay, thank you, Mike. Board appointments, the real purpose of this, I don't know, I highlighted on mine, it probably didn't come through. You can see there are some vacancies, some reappointments, we have to make some decisions. Planning board, Sandy Laterell will need to be reappointed. There's a date for her, but we need to have that resolution. Charlotte Mayhew expires 12/31 in the zoning board of appeals. Charlie Bainbridge has worked as an alternate, but as we all know, Charlie's gone for a period of time, so it's a tough alternate position. In our Board of Ethics, Gerard has played a role in that, and Gerard, I really would like to see you continue to play a role. We haven't had the opportunity to discuss that, but
I think we ought to keep him there till we catch it right.
I,
It'd take a long time.
Like, one point I want to bring up, Herb Carpenter, his term is up this year. The Board of Ethics, we entertained that resolution or that nomination at our meeting, but during the discussion, part of the acceptance, Herb was not there. So it seemed kind of cart before the horse for us to reappoint Herb if we had no idea that he was going to accept. So the appointment was tabled. We have a very active group of alternates, and the decision of the board was we can wait until our April meeting and make an appointment then, because, I mean, Herb did respond after the meeting saying he was interested, but we'd already tabled it by then, and we're not slated to meet, and I really don't want to call a special meeting just to do that. So if something were to happen prior to our April meeting, we can field a quorum. That's not a problem. And if Herb still wants to, and if the board wants to accept his reappointment, then we can do it then, and I'll submit it to the town board.
I was gonna guess, being newly appointed to the Finance Committee, he may feel,
And, you know, some discussion was, I think I talked to you about this, Bernie, some discussion was held during that we have, again, very active alternates. Maybe we want to rotate our alternates into full-time positions and our full-time people into the alternate position, just so that the alternates have a sense of, I'm a real member and not just a stand-in. And they've been to every meeting. Our two alternates have been to every meeting, so they're very active.
yeah, they're very good.
Well, even Dave Kimmel on the planning board, that's coming up pretty quickly too.
Mhm.
Jerry, on that Board of Ethics,
Mhm.
in the bylaws,
Mhm.
does it call for a member of the town board?
It calls for a member of the town board, and originally, the bylaws, I don't know that we ever voted to change them, Marty, but originally the bylaws called for 5 members to be alternate years, but the member of the board is appointed every year.
Annually.
So what we've been doing, and it might be contrary to the bylaws, we've been appointing people to 4-year terms, the other 4 appointed members to 4-year terms rather than a 5, because then that would leave you with the year that you didn't have an appointment. We do have another recommendation, but I haven't had time to submit it formally to the board, of a change that the Board of Ethics would like to see to the local law. So I'll be submitting that sometime before the end of the year for the board to consider. Again, what we make, it's in the local law that we can make recommendations for changes to the law, but obviously the town board has to adopt it. So we do have a recommendation, and it will be forthcoming. And I'll include that one in there as well, to change the terms of office to correspond to where we are right now.
Anything else with the appointments? Okay. I don't recall what Deborah gave you concerning Elmore, maybe the
letter.
cover letter.
Yeah.
We've had a number of conversations about what's going to happen with them. The town of Peru has worked with their attorney, and they've generated a different agreement. The current one that's been used is a very simple 1-page. It's worked for us. Their attorney has been concerned that that document didn't cover the issues that should be. Jim has reviewed that. I don't know if you want to share any thoughts?
Well, the only thing I'd want to say is that, like I said, Bernie and I have talked about this a bit, and I spoke to Don Biggs about it as well. Basically, we've gone for 8 or 10 years with 0 problems, so it has been a very short agreement, it doesn't cover everything, but I don't know if we use these people once every 2 months. I mean, it just hasn't been a problem. And now he's got a much longer agreement. He does have one thing in here that it would seem to take care of a lot of things. Either party can get out, I think, within 30 days. So if that's the case, there's really, and once you can get out of the agreement in 30 days, there isn't any too much long-term. If you have a disagreement, say you should pay for this, and they say no, then you cancel the agreement. The downside is, there aren't a lot of options. Bernie said there's one place, there's one in Elizabethtown, where's the other one?
Saranac Lake.
Saranac Lake, so if you figure we gotta take the dog to Saranac Lake, it's, that, I guess the other concern I have is,
You take a truck by the time you got there.
yeah, that's right. The other thing you have, with this agreement, there's always two sides to an agreement. We could say, yeah, we like this, but Elmore's gotta say that they like it. So, when I've spoken with Bernie, I guess at some point, we'll have to get together, we'll ask Elmore, do they find this agreement acceptable, or what parts they don't? And then we can say, if they say we don't like paragraph A, B, and C, we get rid of A, B, and C, and we'll sign it. So,
They haven't then proposed a one-page agreement, so.
well, I think they have I think we're under one agreement that, very, very. very
Does
smart.
Elmore themselves want to change it?
I would think not, but I don't know that unless there's something, they probably just don't wanna read like a 5 or 8 page agreement, they'd probably say, hey, well, So I can, if you want, Bernie, I can contact them and ask them if they've seen the agreement, or you can.
I'll give them a call.
Okay, fine.
See,
Say, you've seen the agreement, do you object to it? If they say no, we'll sign it. If they say, oh my gosh, we don't want this, we'll deal with it.
other than the 30-day, pulling that piece into their one page, you're comfortable with their one page?
Well, if it's like having a 30-day, you can get out of a lease in 30 days, there's not a lot of downside.
No.
Well, there might be for us, because you don't find anybody else.
Well, yeah, that's true too, but if somebody doesn't want, if they don't want to do business with the town of Plattsburgh, then,
We have a problem.
well, not only that, you never sort of like having, that's the problem you have with an employee contract, if somebody doesn't want to be in a company, you never want to keep them there. So, anyway, Bernie will.
So I'll call, I guess where we're at, because we're so close to the end of the year, we're going to have an agreement to approve. The point is, they have a very simple one-page one that's served us. There's a real concern with something a little more complex and more comprehensive. And we will bring forward to you to approve some combination thereof.
Yeah, I think part of it may be, I don't think there's something like, oh my gosh, I don't like this. I just think they've always worked with very simple one-page agreement. They're comfortable with it, and we're
But
suggesting
now,
change.
the crew is not.
Not at all.
They're going to Elizabethtown, right?
But you hooked that up, so you.
I'm saying that basically, I'm going historically, we haven't had a problem in 8 years. So, I will talk to them. Bernie, is Peru, are they gonna stay with Elizabethtown, or do you have any idea?
I think their goal is to get the revised agreement and go with Peru.
Okay, all right. Fine. And I have to go now, Bernie gave me permission.
By what authority?
Well, we have to have a vote on that.
He signed the note, he signed my note.
Thank you, Jim.
Never signed.
The next item is meeting dates. Since this came out, I did pick up on, there's a erroneous canceled. If you go down to the next to the last resolve where the dates are, and the next to the last line after November 5, 2015, it says canceled. I believe canceled should be removed.
Which one is that?
Where the dates are listed, and the next to the last line that ends November 5, 2015, canceled. The word canceled should be canceled. Other than that, I did go through the calendar. Debbie revised one thing I changed, and I think this is okay. I haven't benched this against the calendar. It's typical to this year. So look that over. We are at that end of the year and the organizational meeting
Read
stage.
the very last line in that, I think needs to have clarification.
Which last line?
December 21st, 2014,
It should be 15,
year-end meeting
right?
is lacking over,
Well, that will be our year-end meeting.
no,
December 21 would be the year-end. December 28th would be canceled.
okay.
just because of the holiday.
That's what I meant.
And Tom has to decide
Will
if you
be-
spell canceled with one L or two.
Correct.
Will be year-end
I'm not
meeting,
bringing it up.
December 28th, 2015, to be canceled. Okay,
Okay.
okay, got it.
So how many others do you want me to cross off here?
Whatever makes you feel good. Just tell me
do the
before the
spelling.
meeting.
Let's
Just
see.
do the spelling,
Some
Tom.
of them, they have those verbs in the middle, and some of them they don't.
And some is spelled with two L's and some is spelled with one L.
That's,
Cancel.
well, okay.
You were covering all bases
That's
here.
the people that really aren't sure how to spell it, we'll put it one way, one way. I gotta get it right half the
Table
time.
resolution, we don't have to move to bring it off the table, it automatically comes
It
off.
will if we don't act on it right. Sales tax update, I think you have a copy of that. Just a couple things I want to point out. You can draw your own conclusions, obviously. You can see where we've actually received funds. If you look at the total for year to date is $3,205,000. And next to that is a minus 44,000. That's how much we would be off last year. We'd still be 44,000 short from last year's 3.67 million. If you use the same figures for the remaining periods, all right? So we'll take where we are to date, the 3,000,002, add the last year figures for the remaining periods. That comes up to roughly roughly 3,627,353.
Last year was the year that we were kind of low on Christmas.
Right, but the Christmas doesn't get reported until January of the previous year. That's why if you look at the very top of this year's, the very first payment of 99,000 was less than half of last year's. We took a big hit early. Now, sales tax has been good. I don't think it's been astronomical, it's been good, but we've been catching up all year. If we got the very same numbers, we could get more, we could get less. If we got the very same, it would be $44,672.25, less than last year. That's what that number is. Now, the reality is, we didn't budget. We budgeted, if you again, look at the bottom line, 3,541,000, et cetera. So that's our target number, obviously. This is, I wanted to make sure you understood, the minus 44,000 is comparing 2014 to 15, not to what we budgeted.
Yeah, it's 33.7 that we're really, on us, not right.
2014 to 15 or 2013 to 14?
We're comparing,
You don't have 15 yet.
Yeah, it should be 13.
14 to 15. Did I say 15?
Yeah, you said 14 to 15, but you don't have 15
I'm
yet.
sorry, I did it again.
It's 13 to 14.
Right, the
Yeah.
previous year. The previous year. Okay, and again, these are just the numbers. You can read them any way you want, but I was concerned about the 44,000. That's comparing 13 to 14 if we project the same
Christmas.
going forward. Yeah, last
So we're
year,
just 336 short.
oh, we're not that, I mean, if everything stays the same, we're not even short. If everything stays the same, we end up with a total of 3,627,000, you're still over budget. All right? You're still over what we budgeted
For 14.
for 14.
You got me on that.
Here's your budget figure.
Forgot about that.
336. That's the variance, it says. That's the difference between 3,541 and 3,205.
Excuse me.
But you have 422,000 plus to come in yet for the rest of the year. That's to date. to that November 22 payment. We should be all right, pending, Mother Nature putting the kibosh on that. But if
Yeah.
Mother Nature puts the kibosh on that late, we'll see that damage the first part of next year. As you see at the top of this year, we started behind. So, anyway, that's what those numbers are. It's like the weather, I can't do anything about it, it is what it is. But I think it also underscores the importance
I
of
mean,
the
the big
budget.
big
everything
problem
we
was
project.
we came out of the first quarter down
Down.
$132,000.
Yep.
And we've been playing catch-up all year.
And that's what was tough, some of the reporting mid-year was how great sales tax is doing. Well, it was, but nobody factored in, we started over 130,000 behind. Okay, if there are no further thoughts on that, I'll just kind of move this agenda along a little bit. We had tabled resolution 367 last meeting because we had the wrong report from Harris. I do not have an updated report. So if we don't do anything, it'll simply go away, and we'll have to do the supervisor's report in a totally new resolution after we get one. We don't have one. Everybody's comfortable letting that go away. The next item Pat is asking us to act on, again, timeliness, it just takes time to get these things in sometimes. A ban renewal that is due. So without anything further said, resolution 375, Archie-Berto Road Water District ban renewal.
Whereas on December 19, 2005, the town board approved resolution 05292 for the issuance of a bond anticipation note in the amount not to exceed $850,000 for water improvements. Whereas the resolution delegated the supervisor with the authority to annually renew said ban. Whereas the current ban matures on December 5, 2014, and the lowest interest rates have been sought for renewal of the Moffett Road Water District ban in the amount not to exceed $60,000. Whereas local financial institutions were solicited to bid for the ban renewal, and the following interest rates were submitted to the finance manager, as so noted. With Glens Falls National Bank submitting the lowest interest rate now. Therefore it be resolved that the town board award the Archie-Berto Road Water Ban District renewal to Glens Falls National Bank, and the supervisors hereby authorized to sign any and all necessary documents pertaining to the ban renewal. And a certified copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager and director of water and wastewater utilities.
A motion.
So
Mr. Manick, second.
Second.
Mr. Renadette, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Mark Manning,
yes.
Michael Cassidy.
Yes.
George Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes, resolution carries. Next in our list is minutes for our next meeting. If you see anything, please let us know as soon as you can. We have a draft resolution concerning our PESH Workplace Violence Committee. As you read through this, you can see we're proposing Mr. Bro, Mr. Imhoff, Ms. Pangborn, and Mr. Barber as town employees. We'd like to have a board member. I'm willing to do that. If someone would like to do it, let me know, and I'll be glad to put your name in. And if not, we'll leave it as it is. We would act on that next meeting. Next item I'd like to have on the agenda for the next meeting as well is, finally, we've talked about this for a long time, authorization to advertise for ATM services through the form of an RFP. I don't have the draft. Did you get a draft RFP?
No, just the
note.
The note.
I don't know why that didn't get there. I'll get that out to you. I know I sent that to Jim for comments.
Yeah, we just got the notice and draft resolution.
I will get that to you. There was no stereo document. I took a variety of the ones that were out there and tried to mold something that worked for us. So I will get that to you electronic. If that doesn't work, see me. There is one, unless you want to hang around tonight and I'll make copies before you leave.
Is this one that we're looking to put down in the court?
I've left it somewhat open-ended, Marty, that we would put one in, could put one in the court and put one upstairs. Put one by the clerk's office. Let the vendors make a proposal. Okay? So I will get the RFP to you. Sorry about that. Didn't realize it wasn't included. The next item is in there as a draft. I would recommend we give this a number.
Can I ask? The abstract 11C was 376, correct? We just passed 375. But I see on the,
Yes, there is no abstract.
So that would have been 376?
This one would be 376. I think we should act on this and go forward. So, Resolution 376, Teamsters Local 687 Bargaining Unit Contract.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh and Teamsters Local 687, the recognized bargaining unit for certain employees of the town of Plattsburgh, had entered into a contract agreement to expire December 31st, 2014. Whereas parties to said contract are desirous of entering into a new agreement, and whereas a new contract has been agreed upon by the town of Plattsburgh and the Teamsters Local 687 as indicated by the attached summary agreement. Now therefore be resolved that the said agreement, a summary of which is attached to this resolution, be executed by the union representative and Bernard C. Bassett, supervisor for the town of Plattsburgh, and on behalf of the town of Plattsburgh. And it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager, the Teamster representative, Mickey Smith, labor relations contract, Dr. Rachel Rizzuto, and shop stewards for the town of Plattsburgh.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Renadette, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, any discussion?
That's, will that be an actual new contract that we all sign, or will this just be your?
This is just the
Summary.
MOU,
Yeah.
then this will be woven into the formal agreement like the one we had previous, like you have in front of you. Rachel would review it, Mickey would review it, and then we would review it, and then we'd all sign it.
No, do I get a copy of the summary agreement to be attached to this after?
Mhm.
Okay.
Have to. So, yes, that would be the end result, Tom. And that's what we did with the previous MOU.
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood?
Yes.
Martin Manning?
Yes.
Michael
Yes.
Callahan? George Rivendell?
Yes.
And Bertie Bolt.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution, the next draft, rather, is one concerning the properties that we've discussed. I'm assuming you have an agreement attached to that?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. I will get that to you as well. We have one, it's very similar to what we had before. It lists both properties. To define them, the smaller landlocked property is listed at $295, and the other property that we've been discussing is listed at $550,000. This would run until, from November 20, 2014, which obviously we're beyond that, whatever date we execute it, to November 19, 2015. The rest is the same language as we've had.
Bernie, the second whereas, and forgive me if I've asked this question, it's been answered before.
Mhm.
The second whereas declares that that parcel is surplus property. Have we actually passed a resolution declaring that property surplus?
Not, no. We passed the resolution last time authorizing to look for a representative because we
Mhm.
declared it in that resolution as surplus. A formal resolution that said this is surplus property, no. We hadn't done that before.
I think, and I think Jim would agree with me, I think we have to make sure that we have that resolution that declares that property as surplus. Because otherwise, yeah, we can't just sell property unless we've declared it as being surplus property. I might be wrong, but check with Jim, I believe that he has told me that I was correct on that.
Well, in his review, he's indicated we have to note in the resolution that it is surplus.
And that's adequate.
Therefore, it is.
Okay.
I
All
will
right.
follow
If
up
he's-
with him to be
If
sure.
he's comfortable with that,
That's
I
what
just
he's
want to
looking
make sure that we've got all of our bases covered before we go out through the whole process and everything else, then somebody says, hey, you never declared it surplus.
Yep.
All right.
Yep, that's, which is why that language is there.
And if.
But I will
if
follow
council-
up
if
to be sure
council-
that's
If
sufficient.
council's comfortable with it, then I will be too.
Okay?
Well, we didn't declare it surplus, shouldn't it be resolved?
Well, this is what I asked
Resolved
Tom,
part?
and it was mentioned in the resolution when we went out for a bid, or for an agent on it, that it was declared surplus in the resolution looking for it. If Jim is comfortable that that language is sufficient to designate the property as surplus property, I'm comfortable with it, because he's the one who's gonna have to defend us on it. If he says that by mentioning it in that resolution, it's adequate to have declared that property as surplus, I'm happy. I just wanna make sure
Previous
that we.
resolution, not this one.
Previous
Okay.
resolution.
Well, or this one. I mean, this one does the same thing the
Right.
same
Well,
way.
but whereas doesn't mean that we're doing it. Resolved means we're doing it.
It says whereas parcel 23-1-32.2 is also a surplus property.
It does say that, but we have to resolve that.
Well, again, Bernie's gonna check with Jim, but I think he had answered that. Seems to me, I remember now that you say that he had indicated when I asked the question prior. That's why I apologize for repeating myself.
Yeah, well, we want to be sure. I know exactly what you're saying. Does it have to be a separate act prior to? And,
Okay.
my understanding is that's sufficient in here, but I will find out. And I will get that agreement to you. I have no idea why that was left out, it just was. And if anyone wants to stay, you have a burning desire to read that tonight before you go to bed, I will be glad to make a copy.
Oh, gosh, yes, I do.
Next is the appointment of Sandy, which is why there was no resolution number on the previous agreement. And the one after that, Pat Duhane, as an alternate to the zoning board of appeals. Those are the drafts as I see them for next time. Okay,
Right here.
anyone want copies of those other documents right now? You want me to send them to you?
Email.
Okay,
Look at mine, thought.
I will, by request.
I will read it though.
Sure you will.
Just read it before 4 PM Monday afternoon, please.
Okay, so, Michael, you wanted comments on these by Friday, right?
We're not here Friday, we're not here Thursday.
Right.
By tomorrow.
So it'll have to be held off.
That's right, that'll be by tomorrow. Okay, have to be by that. So that's something to do tomorrow, besides reading those other documents.
I actually meant to say the following, so it'll be basically our last meeting.
We will be adjourned at 9:20.